that's what I want to hit, because if anything, we heard that the Chiefs maybe had a little bit of a mini implosion in between games. They couldn't get their roster swaps sorted out, lane swaps sorted out, and they kind of fell apart. Don't want to call it a complete dire situation, but they did leave Brandon relatively alone in that top lane. I don't think that's going to happen with Ejim on the team. He's such a controlled shot caller. He brings an air of confidence to a team, very quiet, unassuming guy, and I think that he will be what this team needs in a positive influence. But that's not taking anything away from Rosie, because this guy is an absolute Jesus when it comes to mechanical play.
Oh, yeah.
He really is top-notch, and his understanding of the game is on a very high level. So I think that if anything, adding him to a new team like Sin Gaming, especially in the top lane, where he can be a little bit more vocal and a bit more of a carry, is nothing but a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And, of course, Rosie has played a whole lot of different roles over his career as well. He's played mid lane, I believe. He's also played AD carry for a stint, then hopped into the support role, played a whole lot of caster-based supports when he was playing for, formerly Immunity, but now the Chiefs. Yeah, the Zyra support's fantastic. But we are, of course, into Champion Select, ladies and gentlemen. Hecarim going to be hitting the bench first, and Gnar against Rosie was actually one of the top champions that he has been playing in solo queue, but I'd like to see Rosie playing the likes of Lulu, because, of course, Lulu, mid lane, support, top lane, you can play them all, and he's played them in the past.
Absolutely no chance that he's jumping on Lulu here. He's a much more carry-oriented top laner. Look for something that will have huge map impact. Taking away Spooks as Nunu, something that is historically shown very good form on. Didn't play it too well in the IWCI, so hopefully he has picked that up a little bit further. Nautilus also hitting the bench there, taking that away from Trashboat in the support position, who we didn't talk about, but he's actually in replacing Flying Dew. And Trashboat, he's a veteran of the scene. He was AD. Talking about people that have played everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we going to go all the way back into his history, though?
I am.
Okay,
he's played AD, played mid lane for X5, and now he's in the support position down there with Stealthix. So we'll see what he can pull out as well.
Yeah, of course, actually formerly playing AD for Curse OCE back last year, of course. And Lulu is going to get banned away here, away from Swiffer or Swiper there in the top lane. Not entirely sure where that one's aimed because, of course, a very versatile champion. But Rosie, he's going to lock in that Urgot straight out of the gate. And Stealthix, he's played that one before.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's got a game on it, picked up a win as well.
Yeah,
so not surprised to see that one taken. We'll have to see whether it is Ryan Meister and they're trying to counter some of the assassins that Swift is happy to bring out. I know we spoke about the Zed, talked about the LeBlanc as well in the pre-game, because they're two champions that he definitely plays to great effect. And Swiper, bit of a throwback pick, not expecting to see it come through, but he definitely does like his Tryndamere.
He certainly loves at least hovering Tryndamere for an extended period of time. But the Chiefs, they do have LeBlanc open that they could pick up. Not going to go for it, of course. Swiper more than happy to sit back on that tree. Of course, plays Maokai whenever it's open.
Yeah, exactly right. And talk about the Rek'Sai, something that Spooks has always been very comfortable on. One of the junglers that really didn't change in the Cinderhulk meta that we have to mention, kind of just stayed this tanky bruiser that you can still have a lot of map pressure on. So I like that Spooks is still trying to impact the lanes. Of course, very good on the likes of Lee Sin last split. But the Maokai, something that we have to really dive into, because this is a brick wall now that Rosie is going to have to run into repetitively. But it does open the window for something like a Vladimir to go on the top lane and potentially give Swiper some trouble. Yeah,
and we'll see what Rosie wants to take up against him. Of course, already the Chiefs have formed themselves a lot of mid-game power. We'll see whether they stick on that train as the Champion Select heads through. But with 13 seconds to go, Sin taking a long time making their next couple of choices here. Haven't even hovered anything. Rosie, he's going to lock in the Rumble straight up, trying to burn the trees down. And Juves, he's on the Piggy. So a lot of tankiness, I guess, coming from the jungle, making up for the lack in the top lane.
Yeah, coming through in huge amounts of tankiness already. They've got an Urgot. They've got the Sejuani in the jungle. I think that's actually going to be a mid lane Urgot now, because they don't have enough persistent damage without an out-and-out AD carry, unless Ryan Master is happy to take something like a Cassiopeia or an Azir into the mid lane, which I personally wouldn't be comfortable doing against Swiffer, because he's just so good at the assassin. Something like a Kassadin can come through. And this is what they need to look out for, because you mentioned the Alistar. Now there is a Rek'Sai and Alistar as well as a Maokai, and we've already said their persistent damage is not that high. How do the Urgot and the Rumble in the top lane actually burn down anyone in this comp?
And this comp is now looking fantastic here from the Chiefs. Radier hopping back onto the Jinx saw a whole lot of success in the last split, but Ejim's Alistar, we mentioned this already. Alistar finding his way back into the top tier of support picks in the meta at the moment. We are, of course, on the 5.9 patch. And this is looking like a devastating bottom lane. Maybe not necessarily early on, but it's going to be difficult for Sin moving into the later stages of the game.
There's just such a front line that's been put together. Getting through all of that peel is going to be extremely difficult. And if they're going to commit to something like a Tristana, I don't actually know if they do have the damage. Tristana, she's not this late game carry anymore. She's more of a turret pushing threat. Fills a similar role towards the Jinx, but they do take the Azir into the mid lane. That's very bold.
Yeah, and it is going to be a last-minute switch over from that AD carry role. I guess Urgot into the from the mid lane Urgot, and they're going to pick up the Azir, of course. 100% win rate, I guess, if you take the last 2 performances of Sin Gaming there for Rymaster, but only played it in one of those games. We'll see how he goes, because it's a slightly different playstyle than we expect from this guy. This guy's more of like a Zed Diana player.
Yeah, so we are certainly used to him getting out and split pushing a little bit more than other mid laners, but he has gone for the team fighting late game mage in the mid lane. Has got good pushing potential in there, and wow, Swiffer answers with a Cassiopeia. This is a very neutral matchup. Swiffer should win early game, but Azir definitely stacks up a little bit better than Cassiopeia because of the extended range. Cassiopeia has to be up there in your face, and probably is once again going to be more of a peeling aspect for Radius, sitting next to the AD carry, making people come to him. But Rymaster now has a lot of potential to put out all that damage.
Yeah, he most certainly does. And I mean, we've spoken about the Cassiopeia-Azir matchups quite a lot because it seems to be what people like to take into that one. But of course, the Cassiopeia into the Azir or vice versa. But we'll see how it works out here. It seems like Swiffer may have sort of counter-picked himself to a certain extent.
It's not really a counter-pick because you do win laning phase. Like 100% Cassiopeia beats Azir in the laning phase. Azir can push, but just the persistent damage out of Cassiopeia means that if you ever make a mistake with your Sand Soldiers, there's just way too much kill potential. Throw in the fact that there's a Rek'Sai as a jungler versus something like a Sejuani, that 2v2 is never going in Sin Gaming's favor. The advantage they do have is out of the laning phase, because Azir is much easier to execute in team fights. Cassiopeia on the chase is very good, and on the kite back initially is great, but if you ever get caught out, you die extremely quickly. Yeah,
I mean, you can get that Seraph's Embrace, you can have all the shields that you want, but she's just so inherently squishy that you're probably not going to survive for too long in these fights. But of course, so much consistent damage to come through from the Chiefs. They've got the hyper carry mid laner in that Cassiopeia. They've got the hyper carry AD, most definitely on the Jinx. And man, things could be frightening come the late game if Sin Gaming can't find their way into these initiations. And when you've got the likes of Glacial Prison and the Equalizer, that can be a lot of upfront damage here available.
Yeah, that's one thing that we do have to hit on. They've got a great front line and these 2 damage threats sitting on the back. But if ever Radia or Swiffer make a mistake and are hit by that Sejuani ultimate, game over, because there is no way they can stand up in a 4v5 situation because they've only got the 2 damage threats.
Yeah, but one thing that the Chiefs can say is the fact that they've got a heck of a lot of knockups. There's a whole lot of sort of unmitigatable CC with the fact that it's going to be a bouncy castle with Rek'Sai and the Pulverize coming through from Egypt.
Yeah, they certainly do have some knockups in there. They've also got the Maokai, a little bit of a smash on the ground, bounces you around a little bit. Their inherent CC, that's kind of what the front line is there for, to push people away, make sure they do have the kite ability. But really, it is about how Sin can execute in these 5v5 team fights now. They need to circumnavigate the big tanky front line, get around onto the back line somehow. Is it going to be with the flank coming through from Rosie on the Rumble, who won't be that tanky himself, but will do a fair amount of damage?
Yeah.
Can they get the swap going? That's about a level 11 ability, because level 6, the range is just pitiful, really, so that's not really much of an option. So I'm excited to see how Sin, this newer team, is going to execute in the team fights, because you have to say, looking at the team comps next to each other, it looks like Chiefs is a little bit better and much easier, more importantly, to execute.
Yeah, well, that is a very good point. There's also the fact that Rosie, largely untested there in the top lane. I'm really excited to see how he goes against his former teammates here in the Chiefs. And of course, he's on the Rumble into the Maokai. Sort of somewhat neutral matchup. I guess Rumble probably has it in the 1v1 laning phase, but Rumble has so many peaks and troughs as he levels up his abilities. And we'll see how it works out here, because of course, Swiper is a seasoned veteran in the top lane.
Yeah, so Rumble beats Maokai. The itemization is way too easy to go for. Early game, especially, Rumble is actually easy to get through lane swaps as well, because you really only need boots 2 to make an impact on the game. So I definitely think that Rosie has the advantage in the laning phase. But once again, it's just if the game goes too late, then the Maokai does everything that the Rumble does and gets incredibly strong late game, will be able to scale up extremely well. So as long as Swiper can get some farm, he's really winning. It's about how Rosie impacts the rest of the map. And that's difficult to do because, you know, we talk about him being a support player, being able to pack up and leave lane. If you do that against someone like Swiper, he's just going to get bigger and bigger. If anything, we know that Swiper just likes to absorb farm and become this unkillable guy. He kind of giggles even when he's initiating fights for his team. So I want to see how Rosie tackles that 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, and is a lot of the onus now going to be on Sin Gaming, who is up against sort of arguably the best team here in Oceania? Is the onus on them to create the advantage in the earlier stages of the game?
100%. If Juves can't go with Spooks, if he can't get an early advantage and start picking up dragons, then they will just quickly fall behind. We've seen time and time again that the Chiefs just love to build that lead by 15 minutes and absolutely crush opponents in the team fighting stage. And this team, we mentioned how inherently tanky they are. If they get any small advantage, you're just not going to kill them.
Yeah, well, that's precisely it. And we'll see whether, you know, Spooks can make an impact early on as well to try and sort of mitigate that sort of early game advantage that Sin have. Because, of course, Rek'Sai, she's known as being able to get massively tanky in the late game if you go the Cinder Hulk route. But you also have so much ganking pressure early on as well. And this is something that I really like to see from the Chiefs because we've sort of discredited their drafting just a little bit when they pick the likes of the Nunu, with the Vladimir and stuff and have not a whole lot of ganking pressure early on in the game. But Rek'Sai, certainly going to make up for that.
Yeah, and that's something that we said about the IWCI tournament in general. It looked like the Chiefs completely overhauled what they were bringing into fights and then didn't really execute on it well. This is a much more Chiefs lineup for me. They've got the early pressure. They've got the scaling on their AD and their mid laner. They've got a lot of support around the rest of the team. So I actually like the way their draft is going. So hopefully over that little bit of a rest that they had when they did come back from Turkey, they've managed to get all their draft phase worked out.
Yeah, well, look, we'll see how it goes. We are going to hop onto the Rift very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with Sin Gaming taking on the Chiefs. Sin, actually with the first matchup here, taking the blue side. They are going to meet again further down the track, and it is going to switch this one around. But Sin are going to be on blue this first one. Swiffer and Stealthix just hanging out here in the mid lane, and I'm excited to see how this matchup is going to go because the Chiefs, we haven't seen them in quite some time. And Ejim now on the roster. This could potentially be a super team spawn, but we don't want to say anything too early.
Yeah, I'm not calling it a super team yet. They haven't even played a game, but early invade coming in here from Rosie. He has been spotted out. You can see the sapling as well. And right here, he's relatively deep in the opposition jungle as well.
Yeah, just sort of hanging out there. Of course, knows that there's probably no one around to find him, but standing very far away from the brush. Could have potentially been engaged on if someone was waiting, but not going to happen this time.
Yeah, so both teams get fairly deep vision in the opposition's red side of the jungle. Doesn't look like they're going to respond at all to it, although Swiper, he's now been spotted out. Maybe just going to pop those saplings to ensure he can't get a level 2 advantage for Swiffer in that mid lane. And very standard stuff here, just deep invades, but everyone going back towards standard lanes.
Yeah, and it seems like they are going to be scouting out for that lane swap. Of course, Urgot level 1, not very strong, but can turn into a bit of a lane bully once he does have his mana regen under control. And who is going to be opting for the lane swap if they can get one?
Yeah, I don't think that either team really wants a lane swap. The Urgot, he'll be comfortable once he gets to level 3, so he doesn't really need to look for another lane. And, you know, Radier and Ejim, they're probably confident that they can go in any 2v2 and come out ahead.
Well, of course, Ejim very confident on that Alistair, and we've seen Radier do fantastic things on Jinx in the past. Of course, was sort of more of a Lucian player come the end of IWCI. He was fantastic on that champion. And one thing I want to credit Radier for is he has increased his amount of aggressive play about tenfold as the split went on.
Yeah, he certainly has become more of a dominant figure. I guess he was very content to let play come to him in the past, but now does like to get aggressive, and we'll see how that works out for him as this game comes through, because Trashboat, he's also a very good reactive player as Ejim goes aggressive and completely whiffs the Pulverize.
Yeah, was looking for it on both Trashboat and Stealthix there, but in the end got neither. Trashboat didn't find the Dark Binding either, so I think everyone just sort of getting their eye in at this stage as Ejim hits level 2. Nice use of the Chompers as Stealthix is going to take about half of his health. There's the double Pulverize though, and the Ignite's actually ticking. Flashes away as Radier trying to attack Trashboat here. I'm actually getting very confused about this one because, of course, my face stops working mid-team fight, but it is going to end up with Sin Gaming on about 200 health apiece and Radier taking most of that aggression.
Yeah, but the heal coming through from the Alistair will put them in good stead as Rosie now getting his first blood in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Ejim actually going to find the headbutt pulverized combo, I believe, onto Stealthix. They're a little bit too far forward. Unfortunately, weren't able to catch that as Rosie going to find some harpoons here in the top lane, but not going to be giving away too much as Spooks was hanging around. Rymeister trying to turn this one around. Swiffer dying 1v1 to Rymeister. That was a beautiful set of plays, and man, action all over the Rift.
Yeah, and a fat finger out of Swiffer actually burns the cleanse as well for no reason. So that's not going to be good news. And if there's anything we've seen about the Chiefs, it is that their mid laner is a fairly emotional guy coming onto the Rift. So he's not going to like that one whatsoever.
Well, we'll see whether he comes back with a bit of vengeance there. But of course, Rymeister, formerly a sub player, as Spooks is going to come in for a little bit of a gank attempt here in the top lane, but he's going to just burn for it. As the minions here also deterring the Chiefs from going any further. But of course, Rymeister, formerly the sub player for the Chiefs, and the Chiefs knew that he was a brilliant player, sort of like one of the prodigies from solo queue.
Yeah, Swiffer in particular has a lot of respect for Rymeister, so definitely flashing and aggressively trying to exert dominance early, but he does give up a CS advantage as well as that kill. So Rymeister now in position of what should be Swiffer's laning phase. You saw that Swiffer actually misplayed that quite extensively, flashed into turret range when he didn't need to, and missed his poison. So probably should have been his kill, but just didn't play it mechanically well enough.
Yeah, unfortunate there, and Rymeister able to his credit, turn that one around and pick up the solo kill there as well, which could be huge as this laning phase progresses, because of course Cassiopeia known as being that lane bully. Ejim, they're putting a lot of pressure onto Juves. Eats a Dark Binding, but not going to be too worried about it now, as Juves still just sitting in that brush, no vision available for the Chiefs.
Yeah, but that's huge. Denies a big Raptor away, so just getting a little bit more experience in for himself, but more importantly, denying it away from the Sejuani, who really does need that level 6 to be impactful on the map. Of course, going to get a lot more done on Rek'Sai early levels as Rosie really taking it now to Swiper. That's held in an awkward position off the turret, and he's continuing to tank it up.
Yeah, no worries. Scrap Shield there helping him out just a little bit as well as Swiper. He's going to have to head back to base. Might be able to pick up that Catalyst and teleport back to lane, but we'll see whether he decides to hold on to that Summoner spell.
Well, he has to teleport. There is no way you can leave a lane frozen that deep. But he's not. He's going to walk, it looks like. And Rosie really has started to dominate this laning phase. He's going to pick up all the extra advantage. He can get a free back in whenever he wants now. And all it's going to cost him is maybe half a minion wave. Although he just misses 2 CS as I'm complimenting him.
Oh, unfortunate.
Really not happy about that.
3.
And now it's pushing back.
Yeah, I think he's feeling a little bit
yeah, get the camera off that guy.
Yeah.
Give him a break.
Not so great. Juves hanging out here on the bottom lane, but not going to find too much action as Ejim and Radia are pushed fairly far in towards their turret, and they're just going to walk back underneath that one. Stealthix landing a nice Noxian Corrosive Charge.
So all they're looking for right now, they've pulled Juves into the lane, is he's obviously got enough for the tier, as Spooks in the top lane going for a very aggressive gank.
Yeah, does manage to pick up the knock up there as the Equalizer comes through. Lots of damage, but Rosie just pops, and Spooks able to walk out of that fire and picks up that kill. So second kill here for the Chiefs as Rymeister going aggressive onto Swiffer again. Misses the poison, taking so much auto attack harass from this Azir. And we credited Rymeister as being a fantastic Azir player, demonstrating it so far here as Ejim wants to find something. Another Pulverize, not going to find it as he headbutts in anger. That's the flash twisted advance, so Stealthix going to get knocked back completely out of mana as well. Blows up that Vengeful Maelstrom, doing so much work here for the Chiefs. Swiper with a sapling, nets himself the kill, and they'll take over this dragon, picking up the first one for basically free.
Yeah, and they're able to grab a kill with it, more importantly. Chiefs really rolling in the team fight phase at least. Still looking slightly sloppy in the mechanics, you have to say. Another whiff Pulverize. Not really the most important target to come through. Swiffer, don't know what he was doing there. Beaten to the fight once again, but in the end, it's the results that matters. They pick up the kill, they pick up the dragon, all of a sudden, Swiper is an absolute monster in the top lane, 2-0-0.
Yeah, 2-0-0, able to pick up that kill from the gank earlier on, of course, so already has the Catalyst in his back pocket, able to grab some boots for himself at the same time, so his lane sustainability is going to be massive. But look at this bottom lane, double the CS to Radia right now.
Yeah, and this is what we talk about. This is why generally Urgot wants to dodge until level 3 and has the tier, as wow, Rymeister is absolutely smacking Swiffer in the face with those Sand Soldiers. And, you know, now Urgot, you pick him for that lane bullying potential. He's not really known as a late game carry, although he does do reasonable damage. Stealthix having a very bad time.
Yeah, having a tough game, and of course, Urgot not really known for scaling in towards that late game with the damage, so We'll see whether he is going to be able to handle it. As, of course, you can now build the Black Cleaver, so have a little bit more armor shred, maybe helping you out as far as breaking down the tanks in Swiper and Spooks a little bit more easily, but
who
not
is
sure
he
whether it'll get
adding
through
the
it.
Magic Pen to? So he picks up the Black Cleaver.
Yep.
He's the only AD carry on his AD damage on his team.
That's
so not really a good itemization at that point coming through with Swiper getting soloed out here by Rosie. Maybe can turn it around.
Yeah, Rosie actually trying to heat him up, but man, so much damage with the overheated Rumble. The Flame Spitter doing some work, plus those auto attacks, and Rosie able to pick up the kill on the 2-0-0 Maokai.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I talked about in the pre-game. Boots 2. That's all Rumble needs to be a threat in the laning phase. Rosie loves to go that build, and, you know, he really makes Swiper play for staying over-aggressive because Maokai's item threshold is way higher than Rumble's.
Well, that Righteous Glory is trying to get up to here for Swiper. Might pick up a cheeky Spectre's Cowl just to help him out in that laning phase because it looks like he needs it here. Looks like the saving grace for the Chiefs at the moment is going to be that bottom lane. Radiant actually deciding to go for that Siege build and picking up some early Berserker's Greaves.
Yeah, so it wants to be highly mobile against that poison as well. Kind of the double win there. Get Jinx a little bit extra mobility. Keeps her in range for the rockets and the minigun. Not to mention she scales extremely well with attack speed, as well as the defensive qualities that come through. So like the pick up there is Swiffer, he can't land a Q at the moment to save his life, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, the W is a little bit larger as well than Miasma as he just decides to poison himself. Swiffer having an interesting day thus far, but still staying very, very competitive
he's
in the
definitely
farm.
doing well in the laning phase. After giving up a kill against someone like an Azir, Rhymaster probably should have been able to push that a little bit harder. So Swiffer, credit to him. And you can see he's even starting to zone maybe a little bit away there. So is staying aggressive in the lane. And that's what you need to do as a Cassiopeia player. Even if you fall behind in kills, your kill potential is just way higher than anyone else on that champion.
Yeah, and of course, the Chiefs having incredible Baron damage at the same time. As soon as you see a Cassiopeia, you have to think that their neutral objective control is gigantic. That Twin Fang is just so much DPS.
Yeah, it certainly is. The flash swap comes through.
Yeah, looking for a potential swap, but
Unbreakable Will?
Yeah, nothing really happened. Of course, Unbreakable Will's pretty unbreakable.
And this is what I was talking about the range of level 6 Urgot swap. They were obviously going for Radiant there. They went for the flash, but the range just isn't high enough.
Yeah, Trash Bro, there's the flash Soul Shackles now as Radiant. He's going to get stunned up. So much damage as the puddle comes down as well. Radiant is going to die. Stealthix trying to get the consistent damage down. Of course, Ejim without the ultimate. There's the ult from Juves as he pays a visit. Nice pulverize. Oh my goodness, the cow lives.
Yeah, keeps himself alive there, Ejim. But in the end, a win comes through as they pick up the kill on Radiant, and all of a sudden, this Urgot maybe picking up some more CS, at least normalizing the lane a little bit, as once again we saw Swiffer go extremely low in the mid lane. Credit to Rhymaster for continuing this pressure, and you know, Spooks, he wants to be ganking at this point. We mentioned how much of a pressure jungler he is. Level 8 to level 6, really taking it to Juves, but caught holding a lane.
Yeah, both of these mid laners now without their flashes. Not entirely sure what happened, but it's an explosive lane thus far. 13 CS is the lead for Rymeister after picking up that early kill. Not too much attention being given by the junglers.
Yeah, so no turrets down either at the 11-minute mark. A very standard laning phase coming through. Is about 1,000 gold over to the Chiefs. You have to think a lot of that is on their jungler. As we see, once again, Rosie continuing to stay aggressive in that top lane.
Yeah, and Ejim paying a little visit to the jungle of Sin Gaming. Juves heading down to this bottom side, but
Rocket is available there from Radius. Surprised he didn't go for a little bit of extra damage there.
Yeah, you almost may as well just throw it into the brush, stop her back. I probably would.
I don't think you should do that.
Yeah, no, I often make decisions that you don't think I should do. Spook's actually going to dive onto Rymeister here. They know that he doesn't have the flash. Spook's tanking up this turret quite a while as Swiffer needs to land the poison. Emperor's Divide is going to stop Rymeister from being able to go down. Prey Seeker not going to find the Azir either, and the Chiefs, they have to turn tail.
Yeah, well-played turret dive coming through there. They miss the ultimate out of Radier as well, but Swiffer just can't get the poison through. Once again, on a slither of health, Rhymaster lives.
Yeah, and was that a reset of the Twin Fang cooldown there as well, due to the fact that there was no more poison left?
Well, he missed the Q. He would have definitely got the reset if it had a hit. But yeah, once again, it just E went on cooldown because the Q was missed.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. Chiefs. Swiffer is able to at least even out the CS here in the mid lane. So picks up an advantage of about 5, as Rymeister did have to at least head back to base.
Juves finding minions that stalk him. I love that new feature, the minion that follows you home from work.
Yeah, it's cute. Sort of the cheapest enemy ward that you can possibly get.
As we see a little bit of aggressive posturing now around the Dragon, that's back up. Next objective, once you see a Sejuani as well as a Rumble, you automatically think Dragon fights have to be a priority for Sin. They missed out on the first one. Let's see whether they can pick up the second as we have Rosie actually walking down from base. All ultimates available. Watch out for the flashes though. Rhyme Master as well as Stealthix don't have theirs, as well as Swiffer and Radier on the other side. So all flashes not down. This is going to be a risky team fight for either team. Yeah,
actually, Dark Binding not going to find the mark. Nice headbutt to break the Soul Shackle. Stealthix looking for a swap here as Rymeister coming around as well. Decent positioning around this Dragon here for Sin Gaming as they're trying to sweep out some wards.
And now this is an extremely risky fight. They don't have the important ultimate on the Morgana to really lock people in place or to split up the team. And if you can't split up the front line, it's going to be incredibly difficult. You see already that they're abandoning, trying to push out the mid lane, maybe even sending Rosie back top. And he's missed about a wave and a half of experience just because of an overcommitment from Trashboat.
Yeah, unable to really find it here. They've got a fair few wards down, but the Chiefs with a whole lot of deep vision means that they're still aware of exactly what Sin are doing. Spooks without the flash can't get that unburrow onto whoever he wants. Swiffer's going to get Emperor's Divided back into the team. Nice use of the Petrifying Gaze, but it's not going to save his life as Rymeister just auto-attacks him to death. Sin with a beautiful rotate mid.
But once again, that was all on Rymeister. He soloed him out once again, got him in a position. They're going to take the mid lane turret. And after a burnt cooldown from Trashboat, Rymeister still able to get the best possible out of it. 2-0-0, really showing his mastery of this champion.
And that's purely in this laning phase as well against Chief Swiffer, who's a phenomenal player in his own right. We've credited him with multiple MVPs throughout everything. In fact, got the league MVP last split. So Rymeister on his first game here in the OPL, really making waves.
Yeah, taking it to arguably the, historically at least, best mid laner in the league. And got to really wonder what is going through Swiffer's head right now, because Cassiopeia, all about that pressure, but if you're at every single stage able to be soloed out by the opposing mid laner, it's just going to lead to not good things for the Chiefs in the long run throughout this mid game.
Yeah, it does almost have the Abyssal Scepter, so that's going to help him out as far as getting some extra damage down onto Rymeister and, of course, mitigating a bit of it as well, but may not necessarily be enough as we do have the Sorcerer's Shoes and the Morellonomicon already completed here, and we know the late game ability of an Azir is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, it certainly is massive. Just has so much scaling damage coming through there as Swiper. He's still getting bullied out in this top lane. You see he's a level behind Rosie. Rosie even still in the CS department, even after he took that wander through the mid lane.
Yeah, bit of an excursion.
A couple of minutes ago, yeah, just meandered on by, ships in the night.
Indeed, indeed, but, you know, still made his presence known, and that's definitely going to give them something.
And that's what we said he needed to do. He needed to impact the rest of the map. And you have to think, at the current point, the pressure he put down did lead to that solo kill. As Radier, once again, really the only saving grace on this Chiefs lineup.
Yeah, Radier able to dodge out of the way of another Dark Binding.
Actually, I take that back. Spooks is still 2 levels ahead of Juice, doing fantastic work on the reg side. So credit to Spooks as well.
Yeah, but Spooks hasn't really been seen all that much. Managed to pick up that kill in the top lane. Might do that yet again as the flash is up again here for Rosie. Spooks wanted to pick that kill up if he can. Nice twisted advance from Swiper, but the equalizer in a decent position. Rosie's going to flash out of the way, but Rymeister and Juice, there's the flash from Swiper, but Spooks, he's going to be stuck into this wall. Bouncy castle for the Rek'Sai, and he's just going to give it up. In the end, Rymeister deserving that kill. 3-0-0 for the mid laner.
Yeah, Rymeister is absolutely everywhere at the moment. He's putting on a clinic, and the Chiefs don't seem to have any answers for this aggressive mid laner. You see Swiffer, he's just gone back to far mid. Meanwhile, they take the top turret.
Yeah, top outer turret going to fall as well. 2 turrets to nothing. Chiefs losing their gold advantage as these objectives are falling down. The Dragon is still up. Of course, the Chiefs can go and pick that one up. They do have the vision, the ability to sweep out the vision, but Sin Gaming will know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I think with the jungler in the top side of the jungle, they can get the second dragon, but that's just a positional error from Sin. That was still a risky pickup there, and you know, the Chiefs, they've got 2 dragons. They're relatively equal in gold, falling behind 600, but this Azir is just going to be so much stronger than anyone on the map, and if Azir gets going, I don't care how tanky you are. We've seen Azir players time and time again shred through with all that attack speed. Right now, this game is Rymeister's to win or lose almost.
Yeah, and this is not the stage of the game when you generally see Azir's doing work. And the fact that he is accelerated in this game is gigantic.
Yeah, exactly right. And you see all the other AoE damage that will really augment it. We've mentioned the peeling that comes through from the Chiefs lineup, but really the Morgana, the Sejuani running through an equalizer. Arguably, Sin have the exact same tools at their disposal, and we said it's a very execution-heavy composition. Right now, they're executing flawlessly.
Yeah, they really are. Sin Gaming actually with Rymeister at 1,200 gold in the lead. Sort of the saving grace for the Chiefs is the fact that Spooks has managed to pick himself up an 800 gold advantage. There's the Emperor's Divide onto Spooks. He's looking to try and flash away. Is going to get into the enemy jungle here as Sin looking to try and pick up the Rek'Sai. Doesn't have the Void Rush. He's now trying to find somewhere to safely tunnel away. The Chiefs now adding some pressure in the mid lane to make up for the fact that their Rek'Sai is on walkabout.
Yeah, I think he's going to escape. There's not really much point in chasing him. So Spooks, he does live after he burnt the flash, but looks like Swiffer once again.
Yeah, he's burning down here as Ejim with a nice headbutt to try and get them away. Rosie pushing very far in here.
Equalizer was available then from Rosie. He could have dropped that straight in Swiffer's path. Knew he didn't have the flash, then caught up with the attack speed slow, but doesn't choose to go for it. Instead, they're just going to siege mid lane.
Yeah, not going to find it this time. Decent zap attempt there as the Sun Turret is going to come through here for Rymeister.
Radiant about to be dove in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Ejim actually trying to do some work here. Nice use of the Flame Chompers as Juve's just going to Northern Winds his way out of there. Not actually going to help him move at all, but it looks cool.
That's intimidating, man. That flail.
Oh, yeah. You love the fact that you know that it's a flail. Oh, nice little zap there onto Trash Boat, but it is going to mean the final outer turret now goes down for Sin.
Yeah, and you know what? My one Sejuani effect is gone. No, Bristle, it's back.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Oh my goodness, Spooks. He's going to tunnel to safety, but Rymeister pushes him back over the wall, swapped into the team. Nice Unburrow for a bit of a knock-up, but Rosie's going to secure the kill. Swiffer, instant cleanse into a beautiful ultimate, but despite fantastic mechanics, still going to die very quickly, and Sin able to utilize the fact that they have so much control over this jungle.
Yeah, everything is theirs on the map right now. Ejim, wow.
Ejim trying to get something done here as Trashboat in a bit of trouble. There's the equalizer. Super Mega Death Rocket locks down the kill onto the Morgana. Swiper able to tank up for a long time as Radiant trying to get something back for his team. A lot of low mana bars, and Sin, they'll have to turn around. This game's still pretty close as far as the gold is concerned, but Sin having their way with the Chiefs in the jungle.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they just have to recognize right now, the Chiefs, that they're a late game composition. They can't go toe-to-toe during this mid-game, especially in team fights, and time and time again, they're just being caught out as well. Spooks with some,
yeah, that was some cheeky play.
That was really nice, actually. Might net his team a mid-lane turret. Jumped off the back of that. He delayed 2 backs, made sure that everyone else was very low mana, and now maybe Radiant can get to work and take down the mid lane. But wow, the Chiefs really look like they're struggling in the first game of the OPL split.
Yeah, they really are not looking like their dominant selves, but of course, it is early days. 21 minutes into this one where the scaling comp means that the Chiefs still have an opportunity to come back in this one. Rady actually committing very hard for this turret, gets excited and runs away. Is going to mean the second turret for the Chiefs in the mid.
Yeah, so let's look at what the Chiefs are doing well. Spooks, he's still got that level advantage, still farming up an absolute storm, so he's getting tanky. Swiper, he's just picked up a huge minion wave in the top lane. He's getting incredibly tanky with some magic resist. And you have to look at the Sin lineup. It really is only the Urgot that does AD damage.
Yeah.
So if they can grab some Merc Treads on their mid laner, get that Seraph through, get the evolving of the stuff, all of a sudden, Swiffer, much tankier. You only have to itemize for magic damage, so a Locket, which hasn't been picked up yet, but I assume Ejim is working on right now, is going to go a really long way. All of a sudden, Sin's timing is a very small window, but right now they look like they can execute on it. Overall, though, wow, Ejim.
Yeah, Ejim, Unbreakable Will has been popped. Dark Binding nimbly dodged out of the way by the cow.
Yeah, that's the best thing about LST. You can go wherever you want. You have like 6 seconds if you can't kill me. But
yeah.
The Chiefs, overall, they're still in a really good position just because of the team comp Sin has picked themselves into. They're very magic damage focused. And if this game goes to about the 35-minute mark, I just don't know how they burn through the tanks.
And Spooks, he's about to finish the Spirit Visage. Swiper has picked up his. Lots of magic resist being taken by the majority of the Chiefs members, as Abyssal Scepter was there for Swiffer for quite a while. Doesn't quite have the Seraph's Embrace done just yet, but that Archangel Staff is going to be stacking up very quickly. Still 0-3 and 0 though from largely a carry here for the Chiefs. Radiant might have a little bit more on his shoulders now.
Swiffer, you need to be careful. Doesn't get caught out in the end, but there were 4 members posturing around that Gromp that he was trying to take. And the Chiefs, they need to regain control of their jungle. Just credit to Sin for really controlling that bottom side of the map with Dragon up in 15 seconds.
Yeah, Rymeister must be very close to his Rabbidan's death cap here as well. Only 840 gold needed for that one, but Sin, as you mentioned, position around this Dragon. And are the Chiefs going to realize the fact that they don't have vision and give that one up? Because Spooks is on the other side of the map.
There is no way they are fighting that Dragon. They've already got 2. 5th Dragon, not really a possibility for Sin at this point. Chiefs are probably ahead of where they thought they would be with Dragons, given the fact that there is a Rumble and Sejuani on the other team. So just give that one up, use the time to farm, become this incredibly tanky lineup.
Yeah, the Chiefs, I thought that they might have gone for a cheeky little Baron attempt, but instead they're going to get a whole bunch of vision around it.
Once again, there's just no point. The Chiefs right now still think if this game goes 35 minutes, they've got the free win because there's not enough persistent AD damage coming out of the Sin Gaming lineup. You can see that they've finished now pretty much a MR item on Maokai. Nearly finished the same one up on Rek'Sai. So overall, they're still playing towards their win condition, which is just out-tank the magic damage coming out of Sin.
Well, Righteous Glory and Spirit Visage completed. We'll see whether Swiper does go for a, you know, potentially the Banshee's Veil next. Does he ignore the...
Completely.
Just completely?
Just get a Warmogs.
All right, fair enough.
There is absolutely no way they kill him.
Well, Swiper going to be pretty happy with that. Of course, enjoys being a little bit immortal, as most people do. Rosie, he's going for an Abyssal Scepter as Swift is going to take a whole lot of damage from Rymeister, so they have to be careful. Death cap completed as Swift is getting zoned away from his team. Turret is going to fall down in the bottom lane. Chiefs picking that one up for free as Spooks. He's going for the aggression onto Rymeister. Beautiful combo. There's the ult from Swift around the side. And that is the Azir exploded in this team fight. Trash Boat, he's going to die inherently as well. The double kill for Radiant. And the Chiefs, they still will always know how to team fight.
Yeah, exactly right. And overstaying, that was the problem. Short range coming through from Sin. Just a fantastic initiation coming out of the Chiefs. And, you know, now the Baron, a very real objective because 3 members are dead.
Yeah, Rosie and Stealthix are there. Rosie with no equalizer, and Stealthix, he can swap someone, but he's going to be alone, and the Chief's going to be taking down this Baron so incredibly quickly. Spooks trying to tank that one up as Swiffer taking a bunch of damage from Rosie and Stealthix. Nice double knock up there as Rosie's going down very, very low. Swiffer, you need to be careful as Swiper's tanking this one up. The Baron goes down though. Rocket, just one of them here for Radiant. The shutdown comes through. That's an unofficial quadra kill for the Jinx as that extended one goes down. Penta if you include the Baron.
Which you don't. So a quadra kill coming through from Radiant, but a fantastic team fight nonetheless coming through from the Chiefs. A game that we said maybe needed to go for 35 minutes for them to secure. Now at the 30-minute mark, not even there yet. Looks very much in their control. Another BF sword and pick and Vamp Scepter picked up for Radiant, so he's even stronger than where he was before. 70 CS in the lead. Probably about 2,000 gold. That's definitely a good thing for your Jinx.
Yeah, that whole set of plays has really changed this game completely for the Chiefs. As Swiffer just whiffs the Petrifying Gaze entirely.
Swiffer,
no, it's not.
After this game, like, just take a break. Take 5.
A breather, maybe.
He's not having any luck at all at this point.
No. It's not exactly the best moment here. Radiant, though, able to forego the armor penetration almost completely, able to pick up that Bloodthirster.
Wow, and that's nearly an outright pickup coming through from the AD player. Now all of a sudden they have pressure across the map because Void Rust, Teleport still available. They can set up a 1-3-1 and really make the best use out of this Baron buff.
Yeah, well, and of course, the Chiefs were behind on gold until they had that incredible play. Spooks and
Ejim.
2,000
ahead when that happened.
Oh, were they?
Yep, they just farmed so much better. Look at the CS differential between Radiant.
Especially the bottom lane.
Yeah.
My God.
Not to mention that's about 4 jungle camps that Spooks has picked up.
How did Swiper get that far ahead as well?
Yeah, Rosie just trying to help out the team. They recognized their window was very short, and Chiefs, they just force the issue, continue to farm up, and become this unkillable team.
Yeah, it is going to be the Scrying Orb used just to spot the Chiefs. They are going to be seen, but it's not going to do any damage. The 7,000 gold, as we mentioned before, is going to be the lead. Baron buff still swirling around the Chiefs, but they haven't managed to really pick up too much. And I want to know what a team fight looks like when the Chiefs don't manage to insta-kill Rymeister.
Yeah, well, at this point, I actually don't think it matters. I think that they just have that much siege potential that they can continue to push up, take out the last 2 outer turrets, and really just seal the game through superior scaling. And that's what we said they were going to do the entirety of the game.
Yeah, Rymeister does have a decent amount of wave clear, I guess, but not against these Baroned up minions that Ejim's keeping very healthy. Rymeister is able to destroy the wave in the end, and this inhibitor turret is going to stay healthy, but inner turret did fall. What is that, 1 turret though for that Baron?
Yeah, Baron's still ticking away. They might be able to rotate mid, but if that all they got was a ace, Baron, and a turret, I still think Chiefs
still probably good,
happy
yeah.
Pre-30-minute mark. This is still a very early game, especially on the Cinderhulk patch, and Chiefs seem to have settled a little bit and have the game exactly where they want it.
There's going to be Giant Spelled and another Ruby Crystal here for Swiper. Taking a bit of your advice there, Spawn, making sure that he picks up as much flat health as possible. Spook's going to be doing about the same thing, going to have the extra 20% health as well on top of it because of that Cinderhulk, of course. So I think Spooks' build is very impressive here because, of course, a lot of people like to build a little bit of an extra damage on the Rek'Sai, but he's just going to be one more completely unkillable target.
Yeah, exactly right. Just allow the Gromp as well as the Cinderhulk buff to do all your damage for you. He just needs to be in there disruptive as possible. Also has some true damage coming through, so agree with the build path completely by the Chiefs because as long as they can out-tank Jubes, there's no way that Sin can get into a position that they can win a team fight without that miraculous catch. If they catch Radier right now, game turns on its head. But that's their only hope is catch him out.
You know, you can see the bottom lane of the Chiefs. 8 out of the 9 kill participation for both of the members. Really doing some work here. Ejim 1-0-7. The Immortal Cow himself, and he has the Locket of the Iron Solari. Swiffer 1v1 under Rosie. Meanwhile, they're going to be able to lock that one down. Swiper now going aggressive. There's the knockups coming through. A second one. Super Mega Death Rocket, but nice swap to come down from Celtics. Gets him out of the way of that, but Swiffer, can he land the damage? Radier picks it up in the end as Trashboat. He might be in trouble now as well. The Rockets doing so much work. The triple item Jinx. And this inner turret, it has to be falling down with 2 members of Sin dead.
Yeah, so Sin trying to repel the siege, but the Chiefs are absolutely relentless. They pick up the solo kill, catch Stealthix out of position, and now they're moving in. Nice find from Trashboat. Maybe keeps the turret alive for a fraction of a second longer, but that will fall. 3rd Dragon also available, and everything seems to be coming up Chiefs now with a 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah, 10,000 at 30 minutes into this game. It's not what you'd expect if you had seen this game at about 10 minutes through, because Sin Gaming were looking like they were gathering control, but it's exactly how you were talking about it, Spawn. It's the fact that the Chiefs, they just knew that they had the scaling comp.
Yeah, so they didn't push anything throughout that mid-game. Finally got the team fight they were looking for and took off from there, but this is something that we said. Can the Chiefs... I'm really impressed with this game from the Chiefs for 2 reasons, because I didn't know last season what a winning game was for the Chiefs unless Swiffer was ahead.
Yeah.
When in this game, he definitely was not. And then the shot calling, because they were definitely falling behind, and they didn't go for the magical team fight. They went back to their lanes, continued to farm up, got Radier into a position where he was the primary carry. So very well played in this first game, showing the evolution of Ejim maybe to the Chiefs lineup.
Well, this is what Ejim coming onto the Chiefs lineup really does for them. It allows Swiffer to focus on his game. I mean, I guess he's not having a great one this time, but the fact that he doesn't then need to go into shot calling mode after having an awful laning phase, that's a big deal here for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you can see it keeps them more balanced as a team. They still haven't pulled the trigger on an aggressive Chiefs play like we're used to seeing. They're still saying balance even with this lead, and they're just looking to take objectives around the map. Didn't even push that Baron buff any further than they needed to. And now they've got this insurmountable lead with this scaling composition. Even picked up a QSS for Radier, so he's now not a target for the swap to come through. Really got to credit exactly how they've played this late game.
Certainly do, but you can't take too much away here from Sin because, of course, if this was the last split, you see the name Chiefs and you assume it's going to be a victory for them, but Sin really got us feeling like the Chiefs may not have an all-encompassing control over the OPL this split, and if Sin could have managed to make something a little bit better here throughout the mid-game, it might have been a different story. If Rymeister wasn't caught out there around the inner turret, it might have changed. I mean, they've had a fantastic game so far, and they need to credit themselves because, I mean, I know Riot at the moment, it's not exactly looking like it's going very well for Sin at all, but they can hang their hat on the fact that the Chiefs just seem to have drafted better for this moment of the game.
Yeah, exactly right. So they picked themselves into a little bit of a time limit, something that's dangerous to do against the Chiefs, who's now started up Baron. Need to be careful because they're still not in a position that they can win any team fight.
Yeah, Rosie actually teleporting in. There's the equalizer. Radier forced to move over that one. Juve's looking for an ultimate that he can't really find. Trashboat gets caught out. There's the ult used in desperation, but Radier gets excited as the jungler falls down. Stealthix has to flash over the wall. Nice bit of vision gained from Radier with the zap, but Rosie and Trashboat, also Rymeister, just caught way out of position. Chiefs now able just to push ahead into the base.
Yeah, and credit to Swiper and Ejim in that fight. They were just this immovable front line. Throw the fact that Rek'Sai was in the back line, mixing up all kinds of scenarios, and the Chiefs just way too tanky, push and take the first inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, Juves couldn't get anywhere near Radier as well. It was a decent equalizer to try and lock them in the pit, and Ejim's taking way too much damage from these Sand Soldiers. Rymeister just letting the Chiefs know that he cannot be ignored. Decent Sun Turret just to make use of the fact that it can help them get rid of some of these super creeps. But Inhibitor falls down. The base is broken for Sin.
Yeah, so Sin, they've held on for so long, had a very impressive early game, looked strong during the laning phase, and this is what we're used to seeing to the newer teams. Very strong, mechanically gifted players coming in there. Maybe a little team coordination and some drafting issues on the side of Sin. Didn't really like the Urgot with the triple AP. I think that if they ran a standard AD carry right now, because of the fact that there is so much MR stacking coming through from the Chiefs, if they had the Jinx, they would be in a much better situation. Imagine them with a Sivir, all of that AoE damage coming through there. So I think that they did have some shakiness in their draft, but otherwise they performed pretty admirably during the early game.
They most certainly did. The only issue here is Stealthix being, well, I guess it's not the only issue, but 130 CS behind is probably a big deal. Radier's been able to pick up a whole lot of farm around this map. Now a 4-item Jinx with a QSS as well on top of all of that. There is nothing more that Radier really wants in this life.
But you saw how they played the early game. They went aggressive at level 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Because that's when Urgot is at his weakest. Delayed the tier to the second back. Made sure that they were the one soaking all of this pressure. And, you know, not only credit to Radier, but more credit to Ejim for understanding. He was the one that went aggressive, whipped the combo as the Chiefs are continuing to push their advantage, but just made sure that he was the aggressive one in the lane. And aggressive bottom lane composition, not what we're used to seeing out of the Chiefs once again.
Yeah, and Ejim on the Alistair here as well. I don't know how many more times he's going to pick that one up. A nice flash forward from Juice, does pick up some extra damage, but Trashboat and Stealthix are going to get knocked up by the cow. Unbreakable Will is going to be popped, but nothing really going to come from it. No one dead just yet, and a few ultimates down.
Yeah, some ultimates down, a flash on the side of Juves as well as Ejim, but what an initiation coming out of Juves, but good response from Chiefs. Once again, playing this very slowly.
Yeah, Juves tried to mix something up, try and find somewhere to get in, but there's the Righteous Glory popped. Swiper's going to let it go off as they're focusing down the turret. Rosie, he's going to get smashed back into the Chiefs lineup, and Swiffer might be in trouble. He might fall down, but that is a triple kill. Quadra almost here for the Jinx, and man, there's the Quadra. Pentakill for Radier, and this is going to spell the end of the game. Congratulations, Chiefs. Pick up their first victory here in the OPL.
Yeah, a Quadra kill, a Pentakill, maybe 150 CS in the lead as well. Take your hat off to him. Radier looks like he's right back where he left off a year ago and looking very empowered with a new support player.
Oh, most definitely. Radier has often been